All right. All right. It is now 2 p.m. and we'd like to welcome you again to our virtual office hours this Wednesday, October 5th, 2022. If you haven't had the chance, please respond to our opening questions in the chat box. And for those that are new, I'd like you to be oriented to the Microsoft Teams. If you have downloaded the app, your controls should be on the upper right of your screen. If you just joined online, if you hover in the middle of the screen, there should be something that would pop up with the controls. You'll see something with a bubble for the chat. Also, you should see an icon for a microphone. And if you haven't yet, click on that microphone to mute yourself. And we'll give you the opportunity to unmute later when it's time for discussion. And just as a reminder, the purpose of our virtual office hours is to hold time to ensure that we share timely reminders with districts. And even more importantly, is to create this space where you can share feedback, questions, ideas, and best practices with your peers. If you're new, there's no questions that's too small. If you're an effectiveness veteran, don't be shy about letting us know what you need. So before we proceed, just introducing our OEELD team that's here today. I am Faye Colley, and with me are Dr. Vicky Traffler, and she'll wave to you. She is our PADEP coordinator and also our effectiveness team leader. And we also have with us today Miss Beverly Flife, an education associate who oversees special areas and our EPPs. So I oversee communications and professional learning for our office. We're joined by some friends today, our partners, but we'll let them introduce themselves in a little bit. So this is our agenda, and before we dive in, I just wanted to go over some of the responses and just ask my colleagues if there's something there that we need to highlight in terms of responses to our questions. Anything you saw, Beverly or Vicky, that we can highlight in the responses of maybe how our districts are thinking about incorporating the professional learning library into what they're already doing in their district. Again, this is an optional thing that we're offering, an optional resource. We don't want you to feel like we're putting another thing on your plate, but we just want to offer things that will help you do better what you already do in supporting teacher growth. And if there are questions that's ADEP related, we'll try to get to those in the chat or in our time at the end of today's presentation. So is there anything that we could highlight, Beverly or Vicky, and request somebody to hop on the mic? Looks like the chat was going really fast as I was.
I'm going back through. Cheryl Sniker in Clover says that she has planned school-based introductions to the PLL for next month and will utilize the option to offer district-based renewal credit through the PLL transcript.
That sounds wonderful. Thank you so much, Cheryl. And we do know some of our friends are encountering some technical issues, and do know that we have been forwarding your concerns and getting our partners at PowerSchool. They're the ones that are mostly working on the technical side. So I know that Daniel wrote that down earlier. He can't access it yet. But thank you so much. Anything else, Beverly or Vicky, that we could highlight?
I noticed that Daniel Crockett is excited about the PLL. He says that especially his new teachers are looking for any examples to improve their practice, and that the PLL would be a great support in helping those teachers target specific needs.
That is wonderful to hear. Thank you so much, Daniel, for sharing your thoughts. All right, so without further ado, we'll go look at our agenda real briefly, and I'll pass it on to our friends. So we've just done our welcome. Today, we will focus on the professional learning library content, and our friends with educational impact, they will share with us content that we have not touched on. If you have joined any of our trainings for Professional Learning Library, they're going to be highlighting some other things that you have not heard of before. And then we'll have our questions and discussion later on. So moving on, without further ado, I give you Deanna Mackey and Melissa Hoot with Educational Impact.
Great. Well, thank you, everyone. It's so wonderful to be here, especially with all the things you've got going on in your state and what time of year this is. I know it's a busy time, so thank you so much for joining. I'm Deanna Mackey, and I'm the president of Educational Impact. First and foremost, I'm a former teacher, a former special education teacher, and so it's our company that really has created this incredible content. We have film crews that travel the world, and film teachers and experts, and I'm really excited to be spearheading that team and partnering with South Carolina and PowerSchool to provide really great, engaging, research-based content on an e-learning platform. So excited to be here. Thank you so much for having us. I'd like to also introduce my colleague, Melissa Hoot, who is our implementation director.
Hi, everybody. I'm Melissa Hoot. I am also coming from a background in education. I was a middle school teacher for nearly 10 years and also, middle school, what's up? And also worked a lot with technology implementation and professional development. So I have a master's degree in learning and technology. So I am here to help school districts figure out how to take all of this great online content and all of these great resources and how to really bring them into your school and make it work for your staff, for your teachers, for your students. So my goal is to kind of help you navigate how you get that great content and how you bring it and make it come alive. So we are here today to tell you about all the great things that we have going, but we would also like to know, for anybody who hasn't yet told us in the chat, your name and the district that you're coming from. I know we've got about 30 responses that already came in with names and districts, but if you haven't told us yet your name and the district you're coming from, we would love to just know who is here and who we're sharing this great session with today.
So thanks, Mel. Yeah, so with terms of just introduction of who we are and where we come from. So we've been filming classrooms since 1999. And so our tagline here is bringing you inside great classrooms. That's what we're really proud of. We want to show those new teachers and principals and veteran teachers too, what it looks like inside great classrooms. And the best way to learn is to be able to see other people teaching. And so we've got this enormous video library. And then we put all of that together with some really engaging content to create some courses. And so we've got about 359 courses, an enormous video library, and we're always looking to film really great things that are happening out there in the world of teaching. This is all we do. We're focused primarily on education and really trying to get our cameras out there to show you what it's like inside these great classrooms. So we have, with this content partnership, put all kinds of engaging courses inside of your professional learning library. It's an integration, and I'll let Mel speak to just how it all works and how it all flows together.
So we know that some of you have already been to sessions where you've learned about this, so we'll go quickly, but just as a reminder, this integration is between SC Lead and the SC Instructional Hub, which you all are familiar with, integrating with PowerSchool Professional Learning to bring you this premium content from Educational Impact, which is what we call the PLL, or Professional Learning Library. So we want folks to understand that online professional development has changed. A lot of people have this perception that professional development means you sit by yourself in a room at a computer in complete isolation and just watch boring videos and then hopefully maybe learn something. We want you to think of this online PD as something different. There are ways for you to interact. There are ways for you to gain credits. There are ways for you to collaborate and work with other folks as well. So it doesn't need to be a solo experience. It's not just, a talking head speaking to you. It's really interactive. So we're going to show you what that looks like. So some of the content experiences that you might get access to through Educational Impact is sometimes we just press play, and sometimes you just take a great video and you have a standalone video that you pop into maybe a professional learning opportunity or maybe the beginning of a staff meeting. Our courses also have discussion boards where you can watch a video or read an article and respond and see what other folks in your community are saying about that learning. Our courses also include instructor journals, which is a place to record your thoughts, but independently. We have external web links where you can access articles, not just from Educational Impact, but from other great research resources out there in the world. We've got these great video assignments. So you're watching these great clips where we've taken you inside an expert classroom and we're asking you to think about what you've seen there and to write about what the great things that are going on. And finally, we have an assessment to check for understanding and demonstrate mastery so that you know what you've learned and you can really pat yourself on the back and feel confident that you understood the material that was presented here through this coursework. And what's great about this is that we pull content for all different types of topics. So we have things that are aligned to your state and district initiatives. We've got things like trauma and SEL, but we've also pulled content for STCS 4.0, PDEP, and we've aligned our content to these state-specific rubrics so that it's personal for you as a South Carolina educator.
And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to focus a little bit on some of these areas here that we've got highlighted here, some of our most popular topics. So when we think about PDEP and trying to develop school leaders, we've actually created custom courses aligned to your rubric for school leaders. And so the custom courses that we have named PDEP 1, 2, 3, all the way down to 9, and if they have an asterisk beside them, they're actually something you can use for SCDE renewal credits, and they also incorporate language from the rubric. So it would even include a self-assessment activity. We have activities in here also that really work well for developing school leaders' observation skills. So you'll be able to find practice labs in here for teacher evaluation. And what a great thing to do with a group of new principals or even veteran principals to be able to watch complete classroom lessons and then complete like calibration activities to see if you're all on the same page as you apply your teacher rubric. There's content in there also to develop conferencing and goal setting skills. I'm just going to click on just one of these videos. I'm going to actually click on quite a few, but I want to click on this video here just so you can see what I'm talking about, the kinds of practice evaluation activities that would be included in some of these courses. So for example,
we're meeting right now as the post-op.
You would be able to watch conferences between administrators and teachers as they work through a complete evaluation cycle. Here's just a little sample of what that would look like.
Observation conference, and just want to get a sense from you as far as the lesson goes. What did you think of the lesson? How did you think it went overall?
I thought it went really well. The students did.
So the idea is that this principal has done an observation. He's had a pre-conference, which we also will show you. You're able to see, well, what did they talk about before the lesson? You're able to actually watch the classroom lesson unfold. You'll be able to see Miss Lewis teach her lesson, and you can actually be gathering evidence and filling out notes and scripting along the way as you're watching her science lesson. And then we even give you artifacts like their student work samples, her lesson plan, and then you could watch her post-conference. Well, what a great activity for a brand new principal to be able to come in here before they do any of their own evaluations on their staff, to be able to do some of that practice and to be able to meet with other administrators to see, am I seeing this the same way that you see it? And so when we say that we are taking you inside great classrooms, I have to change that just a little bit here because it's not always the greatest classroom. Sometimes we'll take you into somebody who's still developing, a new teacher, or somebody who's not so proficient, and we'll show you some of those coaching skills that you can then, some cognitive coaching and some different ways that you can work with teaching examples that are maybe not always stellar. So we're taking you inside real classrooms all of the time. So the idea here then is that there's activities in here that you would be able to use for developing school leaders. And so what we're going to do is just try to give you an idea to start thinking, okay, what are some groups of people in my school district that could use these types of courses? So we put together some targeted playlists or some targeted learning paths. And this one is just some of the courses that we're calling out that might be good for school leaders. Another learning path that we are just suggesting here is for new teachers. So you had mentioned that, Daniel, that your new teachers would really benefit from something like this. Well, we've pulled together just a little list here. Remember, we've loaded in over 250 courses into your site. Now we're saying, well, pulling out some of these ones in particular and thinking about new teachers, well, what could they take? And so there's content in here about building positive relationships, understanding by design. That's that whole Jay McTighe idea of starting with an essential question. If we want to focus on just an introduction to reading instruction, all teachers need to understand that they play a role in developing literacy. So just some of those content areas here. Again, if you see a course with an asterisk, that means it is carefully aligned to your teaching rubric, and it's available for SCDE renewal credits. It also means that we've included the language of the rubric inside of those actual course activities. We will even show the rubric, and you'd be able to do a self-assessment activity. And then the video clips and the articles that are in there are all aligned to the rubric. Here's an example of one of the videos that we've pulled, so you can just see it here, from our thinking course that's, again, aligned to your rubric. Take you inside
In the following
classroom.
video, we see an example of Ms. Tuttle conversing with students. She asks them to juxtapose a solar eclipse and a lunar eclipse. You will see examples of analytical thinking using a compare and contrast assignment, where students have to evaluate a text and explain their thoughts using a thinking map.
If we're going to compare and contrast to show that we understand what this text is trying to tell us, how could I start organizing that information so when I draw my conclusion and I write my statement or my summary, this book was about, how can I organize the information if I'm...
So it's almost a 7-minute clip. So we've got that introduction just to what you're about to see. But then at the end, or even sometimes halfway through, we'll have some context here, like what is it that I should have seen while I was watching that?
Can't wait forever, but she is there waiting and asking them to think through the process. And she actually asked them to think about their own thinking, some metacognition. How did you come up with that? Can you tell me more about what's going on? She uses a lot of Socratic dialogue.
Okay, so the idea then is we always want to partner some theory and some practice. So yes, we do want you to watch that clip, but we want to give you some guidance and some look-fors as we take you through the classroom example, but we want to make sure you're focused on the right pieces and that we give you some coaching on that. Okay, so that was just a quick video that would be just phenomenal for a new teacher, of course, and I just pulled that out of the thinking course just to give you an idea of the kinds of activities that would be loaded in there. When we think about another playlist or another learning path that's really beneficial right now, it's all focused on trauma. So as schools look to create trauma-informed schools, we just talked prior to this call getting started about an active school shooter. Well, how about we learn some de-escalation strategies? How about we provide some proactive training on how to be de-escalating students, how to create a safe environment, how to use the language of trauma to work with students who are highly dysregulated. So we've partnered with a phenomenal content expert and trauma expert, Heather Forbes, and together we've built out about 20 courses all around trauma and how to interact with students who are coming to school really dysregulated, yes, but also from adverse childhood experiences, which we know has a profound impact on thinking, learning, and behavior. So there's a phenomenal series for schools who are saying, you know what, we need to become trauma informed. We need to start working on the way that we equip our teachers and our entire staff with new skills. So here's an excerpt from one of the courses called Don't You Dare Throw That Chair. And what we do is we give you all kinds of scenarios and give you the wrong way to interact, and then we show you the right way to interact. So here's an excerpt from one of the Don't You Dare Throw That Chair courses focused on high school students. So this is a common scenario. We've got a class clown in front of us. What do we do? Let's take a look.
Unit on radio.
Upside down.
Okay.
Door.
Hi. Hello.
I can't see you, Miss Nelson.
I'm sorry. Sam,
I can't either.
can you give Joe his glasses back, please?
Okay.
Thank you.
You don't have to, but thank you.
Okay. And
So we have a scenario here. We've got a class clown just dying for attention, making it really hard for this teacher to teach her lesson. We work through this. We see her giving him so much of her time, so much going on here. and we give you some analysis at the end. What could the teacher have done differently?
Need to do. Okay.
Exhausted. All of her efforts to pull the students' attention towards her have proven completely ineffective. While she has done well at staying regulated and calm, the reason this isn't working is because she isn't addressing the underlying issue behind the behavior. Thus,
so we give you some things to fix, and then we're actually going to show you the right way to do it. So again, these are some of the courses and some of the activities that are filled in with the Trauma Informed Academy and the series of activities and courses that will help schools understand how to change your language, how to de-escalate, how to empathize with students, how to work with kids that are highly dysregulated. So I highly suggest those folks who are looking at trauma-informed schools to take a look at some of the learning materials on trauma. Similarly, when we think about another content area and another group of people, we're looking at what about your special education teachers or your paraprofessionals or your teachers who are working with ELL students. And so we pulled out some titles here to think about, like there's all kinds of content in here again for working in some of these areas, whether you've got autistic students in your class, students with dyslexia, LD kids, struggling readers. Here's an excerpt from our course on sheltered language instruction. So again, this is the idea that, well, how am I going to teach my teachers to interact when we've got ELL learners in there? What should I be doing differently? Well, we went into the classroom of Carlin Mall, and we're going to be able to see that. Sorry? Everything okay? Sorry, I just heard some background noise there. Is the streaming going okay? I'm not sure if it's coming through the Teams meeting smoothly.
For the most part, it's good, Deanna. One clip earlier had like some green footage, but it was not like taking away from what you were sharing.
Okay, because I'm not seeing that, but okay, you are seeing it on your end. Let's see what this one looks like. It won't do that when you stream it on your own, so I'm not sure where that's coming from. It seems to be smooth on my side, but let's take a look at this one. So this is an ELL classroom. So again, taking out videos that you can see that are going to help teachers in these areas learn some new skills.
In the following clip, you will meet Ms. Carlin Mall, a 5th grade teacher. Ms. Mall is a general education teacher who has bilingual and ELL students in her class. Take a look at her class as they begin a pre-writing activity.
We are going to.
So we're going to see Ms. Mall teach her class, and then she's going to run into a problem. She's going to find that one of her students really does not know what's happening because they just don't have that vocab on the writing activity that she's about to do. So we'll be able to actually show what she does in that particular situation.
Ms. Mall discussed using formative assessment to guide instructional choices. Use of both oral and physical comprehension checks allows her to determine whether students are on track or.
So again, we've got that theory and that practice, wanting to make sure that everything that we've got in here is going to show you the practical implementation of it, but then also point out what the teacher needs to do differently or what the teacher was doing really well. So we want you to start thinking about these targeted content areas, these groups of folks in your school district that maybe need a special learning path where you can say, out of these 250 some courses, we think you want to focus maybe on these 5 so that it's not so overwhelming to see the giant list of courses, but you can start pinpointing some content for certain folks. So that's really what Mel's fantastic at, is putting together these custom learning paths. Mel, I'll let you just jump in a little bit more here and just explain what you can do to help school districts create these custom learning paths and really start thinking about these groups of people.
Yeah, and I've seen some great questions about like how are school districts using this? And so one of the things that we do is we meet with school districts individually. So we can work with you to find out what are things that you're targeting, what's on fire at your building for your staff, for your students. And we can develop these kind of custom targeted learning paths for the folks that you work with every single day. So one way that you could use this platform, it has this huge wealth of content, but we want to narrow that down. So you might say, oh, I have a group of new teachers who I would really love for them to work in the skills area. So we can find, 3 to 5 courses that you'd want them to take. Maybe it's even one course that you want them to take over the course of their first semester teaching, and they work through that course all together. So we can really come up with ways to take this huge, giant library of premium content and really narrow the focus for the different people that you work with so that it feels really custom and then it really addresses the needs in your buildings.
Perfect.
So we have 4 different types of courses in this professional learning library. So we've just gone through and we've showed you a couple video clips. So in my plan, you can actually create kind of like a custom playlist of videos that you might want to show. So if you're a school principal, maybe you just want to show videos, you know, you want to pull, you know, this month we're talking about Socratic questioning. So I'm going to pull a video to show at the beginning of our staff meeting related to that. We have mini courses, which are related to some of the STCS standards, but they're really pared down. They're really just kind of that important video content. We have full-length courses, which are available for SCDE renewal credits, and taking that course from start to finish and completing the assessment can earn those kind of higher quality credits. And those are going to be addressed to that SCTS 4.0 rubric or the PDEP rubric, and has all of that tailored language specific to South Carolina. And then we also just have courses that are, like we talked about a wide variety of things. So maybe you want to learn about trauma-informed schools. Maybe your school district decides to pull content specifically for ELL learners. Maybe you really want to address dyslexia and you want to pull specific content to train teachers better on that instruction. So there's a wealth of different resources available, and then my job is to help you all find ways to kind of target that and tailor it to use just what you need and target the content that you want.
Perfect. And I'm just going to clarify, PLH is professional learning hours. So
Yes.
some are for renewal credits and others are just going to be able to be something that you can use towards those important professional learning hours that every single teacher needs or administrator needs by, you know, every 3 to 5 years.
Great. And so I can help you all find how to target that, but you can also use the robust searching catalog, which we'll talk more about in an office hours session in January, but just using those filters within the professional learning library to target the instruction and target the content that you're looking for within this huge platform, this giant library of great premium resources. And then just as Deanna was saying, some of those courses will count for SCDE renewal credits. Those are for courses tied to STCS and PDEP standards, and those credit hours are based on the course length, where the professional learning hour courses are based on the course length, and then they vary in rigor. Sometimes you want a course that's a little bit shorter and that you can do, you know, over the course of one professional learning day, and other times you want a course that maybe you can use for your professional learning community or for a small group of teachers that they can maybe take over the course of a semester or even the course of an entire year.
Okay, let's take a look then at a scenario that all of you may be familiar with. Let's say in terms of a use case, you're working with a teacher who needs to build skills in a particular component in SCTS. Let's say it's targeted that this teacher needs to work on higher level thinking skills and incorporating more highly engaging strategies to cognitively engage the student. So the thinking strategy or the thinking component. So you can actually really pinpoint this down, right? So in SCTS, SC Lead, you can just click on the Learning tab and you can find the courses that are aligned to the standards. So you can select on the left-hand side SCTS, and then you can scroll through all of the titles that are already aligned to that particular teaching standard. Again, if it's got an asterisk, that's the one that's going to be available for renewal credits. You're just going to click on the course title, and then that's going to walk you through just a process of assigning it. And then it's going to take you over to register for the course in PowerSchool. All you need to do then is just click on the register button. So you're now the learner they're going to be able to see that they have access to this. They can click on the register button, and that's going to take them over to Educational Impact with just one click. There was no login required. And so the idea then is that they come over and they start working through the assignments for this particular skill area. Now, if I just scroll down here, this is a teacher who has not finished the course yet, and I can tell because not everything is checked off. So there's still some work to be done. I know that the course is done if there's green check marks beside absolutely everything. Okay, so the idea, like we said, is it's going to start with a self-assessment activity. We work in the rubric language. The teachers actually go through and they talk about, well, where am I with this particular standard? Am I exemplary, proficient? Do I need improvement? Am I unsatisfactory? And based on what criteria? So you'll notice that we've also loaded in your framework. And so you're able to actually send that teacher out to take a look at the thinking standard. So the whole thing is here. And they can come back and remember, oh yeah, that's right, I do need to take a look at that. And where am I? Am I exemplary, proficient? Maybe, depending on what criteria. And then I write a response. Okay, and then I mark it as complete. So I start with sort of engaging that learner in the standards again. What does it take to be exemplary at thinking? And then I'm also then able to do different units based on those components. So analytical thinking, practical thinking, creative thinking. So we really want to chunk that down into more manageable bites. So I'm going to work through the different activities. If it's a discussion board, there's going to be maybe some videos there. And then there's some activities here where I can post my comment on the discussion board about what I just watched or what I just read. The classroom examples, the EI video clips, we talked a little bit about some of these that are already there. They will actually mark off as complete once the learner has watched the entire thing.
This is Ms. Herzog's criminal justice class. This lesson dives into the real world of forensics. Students get a taste of what it would be like to work in this field as they do some handwriting and forge.
So again, we got a little narration, and then we're going to go in and watch this really interesting lesson, and then we're posed a question to think about, well, what about that made it a good practical thinking lesson? Okay, so the idea is that we're going to give you articles, we're going to have discussion boards, we're going to have great videos in there so that you're in and you're thinking about all the different ways that you can apply what you're learning. Come on out and watch a video and then come back and post a response to the discussion board. Okay, so all kinds of opportunities to watch videos of teachers in action, but then also we'll sometimes be giving you some different types of activities where you can go out and you can read a little bit about STEM, introducing design thinking, and how that relates back to your standards. So the idea then is that they complete the activity, they work very much in a linear fashion, checking things off as complete, they work top to bottom, and then at the end there is a multiple choice assessment. So I want to make sure, because this one is for credit, that there is a multiple choice assessment at the end, and I'm only going to be able to master this course if I can pass these questions. And that check mark is passed off, and our system is basically always scanning for these check marks. Is the learner complete? Yes or no? If it is, then that's going to send a credit back to professional learning and then into SC Lead. So we're always looking to see, is it done? You can work at your own pace. And then when it is done, we get that course completion credit coming back to your transcript inside PowerSchool. Okay, so remember, we're keeping track of this transcript, whether you're earning SCDE renewal credits or professional learning hours. That's all something that you can view inside of professional learning, inside the PowerSchool platform. Okay, so that's just a use case scenario that I think you're probably all quite used to, that you're working with a teacher that needs to work on a certain skill area. You're able to find those through those filters, and then they can come over and really provide that targeted PD based on a particular standard. Okay, so now I'm going to have you try with a different type of scenario. You're going to be the teacher who needs to build skills in a different standard, problem solving. What do you do?
Yes, so you will get a certificate of completion as well. I saw that as a quick question. So yes, so we're going to practice going through this process. You're obviously not going to get the certificate of completion for today during our practice, but that is something that you would get once you finished the course. So you're going to imagine that you are now the teacher who needs to build a skill in a specific area. So we're going to look now at problem solving, and I'm going to give you the steps, and then I'm going to ask you all to do this at your computer. So if you can, in a moment, you're going to open another screen. You're going to start in SC Lead. You're going to head to that Learning tab. So if you could all pull up another screen.
Now you may need to escape this one on your keyboard to open up a new one. Not sure how it works on each of your computers, but just in order to get a new window up.
And then in a moment, I will give you the steps, but I'll give you a second to pull up another screen. So once you get that screen open, you're heading to SC Lead and you're going to go to the Learning tab. And from that Learning tab, you're going to look for a course that is aligned to SCTS 4.0 problem solving. You can pick any course from there and then register yourself for that course. There's a button that will say register. And we want you to just click into 3 of those course assignments and take a look at them so you can have an idea for the different types of course assignments, the different types of rigor that's being asked, the different types of engagement that we're providing. And once you've done that, you're going to type in the chat "worked for me" so that we know that folks have had a chance to experience this platform as a learner. That's right. So yes, they could verbally identify which assignments to register for if you're not assigning them directly, or we can provide some of those targeted learning paths, which is sort of a handout that kind of targets specific course codes to search for, specific courses to find related to specific content. Dan's already got his up. Excellent.
Good.
Seeing a couple more come in. Great. So again, for those of you who are working through, you're just going to get yourself into a problem solving course from the Learning tab. You're going to register for that course and then click into 3 of the different assignments. Great. We're going to give it another 2 minutes. So those of you who are still clicking in, those of you who said "worked for me," take a chance to kind of click around. You could even find another. You could continue to click into the course that you're in to kind of see the progression of that course and how it moves from the beginning of introducing it down to the end. If you want to check out and see what other courses might look like, you could check out another problem solving course or click into a different standard to check out what the content might look like for that standard. So if you're already finished, go ahead and click around and try another one. If you're still working through, we're going to take about a minute, 90 more seconds before we bring it back together. Seeing lots of great participation. In about 30 seconds, we're going to come back together. Okay, if you are still on that other screen, I'm going to ask you to come back into our Teams meeting where we've got our presentation displayed. So you all were able to hop into SC Lead. You saw how that integration worked, where it took you right over to the PowerSchool Professional Learning Library. And then you were able to register for a course, which took you into Educational Impacts Learning Dashboard, all without any additional sign-ins, okay? So all of those programs are speaking to each other, and all of those are, able to, Professional Learning Library is able to see when you've completed a course in your Educational Impact Dashboard. It's going to record that on your transcript, provide you with the certificate, and all of those programs are kind of integrated, working seamlessly together, which is great. So there are a couple things that some takeaways that we would like you to think about here. So first of all, we want you to take notice that the courses include various types of activities. So this is keeping the learner engaged. This is also making it so that if you decide to use this course in a different way, maybe it's not a learner working by themselves, but it's a learning activity that you can use these different types of activities to say, we're going to start this video, we're going to watch it together during our staff meeting, and you can go back and complete the discussion board for this video later independently. These courses can be assigned to yourself or to another person. So learners can go out there and independently search for content that interests them or that engages them, or it can be assigned to them based on their goals or what they might need to improve or what they might already have that's great that they can develop. SC Lead includes courses that are organized by STCS standard, PDEP standard, or A to Z order. So you can find courses through SC Lead. And there are additional searching features inside the PLL. So from there are different kind of filters or tags that you can use to narrow that source more specifically. And we will talk more about that in an office hours in January. And finally, there are many different ways that you can use this content. So there are a wide variety of ways that you can think creatively about how to use these online courses. So we talked about creating a video library. You can pull just video content and use that either in a local PD session. Maybe someone at your school has already created an amazing PD session about a specific topic, and EI can provide a video clip just to support that or show a visual example of the great skill or content that you're talking about. The self-paced course what you opened up today and what you saw can be used just like we talked about today. You're sitting at your computer independently, you're working through the content from start to finish. But those could also be used as a workshop in a box or for a PLC. So you could envision this as saying, okay, today we're going to do Unit 1 and we're going to do all of these activities together as a group. We're going to walk through these and talk about them. Instead of a discussion board, maybe we discuss them out loud. And other times you can say, okay, we're going to start this section together. Everybody please go out and read this article that's in this part of the assignment somewhere. And when we come back, we'll have a discussion about it. So these can be used just like a workshop in a box, or it can be used as a blended activity. We also want you to think about that this library is not only for the amazing aligned content to your standards, but it can also be used for all types of targeted PD. So any interesting topic or any initiative that your school has, it is very likely that we have content that targets that. And so we want to help you kind of filter that down and figure out how to make this library work for your custom needs. And then finally, that leads us to the planned user group. So you might think about, well, my new teachers need something different from my veteran teachers, or my teachers who are struggling in this specific standard area need something different, who are teachers who are excelling in every area so far. So we want to help you think through how to take this vast library and how to target it and use it that works best for the people at your school. And then finally, we're going to just go through a couple action items here for how to make a successful implementation. So how to kind of take all this great content and how to go farther. So in the chat, I'm going to send a link that we would like each of you to fill out. So this link is to request a principals meeting. There's also a QR code there. So if you'd rather leave this screen up, but take a QR code picture on your phone, take the form on your phone so you can still see the presentation, that works as well. But this is just to request a meeting for the principals in your district. What we have found is that oftentimes you need a principal or you need someone who's going to lead this initiative at schools to experience this hands-on. So it will be a guided tour for principals to go through, learn how to log on, learn how to find content. And during that meeting is also when we come up with that targeted list of PD courses that are specific to that district or to your schools. We provide during this meeting also a kickoff kit of materials so that principals or a school leader can take this back and run a similar meeting at their school. So it has a presentation, it has a script that they can run so that they can get their teachers and their staff up and running on this platform, just as you are having that experience today. We want schools to think about unique learning paths for different types of learners, and we want you to stay in touch. So we are really a custom shop here. We have created all this content specifically for South Carolina, but we want to help you narrow it down and really make this feel like a personal learning experience for your teachers and your staff. So we want you to reach out and say, all of a sudden, people are really interested now in learning about this skill or this new topic. We've heard some conversations around trauma. Do you have something related to that? How can we get started? So we want you to reach out at any point in your PD journey so that we can help you work through those questions and work through supporting the amazing professional development that already exists in your schools. So we've got a quick true or false wrap up here. So as you are still filling in that form, if you still got a couple questions to go, keep working on that. But we're going to go through some true or false, kind of just to check in and make sure that we're all on the same page as we wrap up here. So Deanna, go ahead.
Yeah, no, we can use this for the chat as well. So in the chat, we want you to answer this question. True or false? Courses can be completed individually through PLCs or with a whole staff. Is that true or false? The answer?
Nice, very good. They got it.
True, good. The layout of our courses work perfectly for any of those situations. So it can be asynchronous, synchronous, it can be blended. It's, again, not just sitting solo by yourself, looking at the screen, working on your own course by yourself. That's certainly an option, but there are many ways to use this. Great. True or false? The best way to implement online PD is to have teachers complete coursework on their own time. True or false?
Own time meaning like outside of school, outside of their contract hours. What do we think?
The answer is false. And so what we are finding is that when we work with school districts who really blend this into what they're already doing for PD, maybe during a professional development day, it's part of those PD opportunities. This is not just this little extra thing that you can just do whenever you want to at night when you're wanting to watch Netflix. It's really meant to be embedded into what you're already doing and making that part of your existing PD structure. And that's why we really want to have this team around you to say, well, what are you working on for PD? And what are some courses that can help really facilitate that, blend that, and supplement that? Next one, premium library content addresses a wide range of PD topics. Is it just SCTS 4.0? This is like a softball over to you. So yes, the answer is true. Huge list, but also that it's ever expanding. And so we are always writing new courses and we're always adding to that. So we do want to make sure that you're really aware of the fact that there is all kinds of content in there on a range of topics. The tags in PowerSchool will really help you find what you're looking for and to just narrow that search down. And as Mel said, we're going to come back in January and give you a much more detailed way to search by really looking at how the tagging system works. Okay, last one here, I think. True or false, using the system means that you've got to completely outsource your PD to educational impact.
Nice, everybody.
All
Great.
right. Yeah, definitely it's fall. So it's versatile. We are one part of what you're doing. Again, just finding the ways that we can complement what you're doing now is the best way to be thinking about this partnership. Lots of options there. Okay, so just bringing this back up again to be thinking about sort of like what should we be doing next? Where are we at in your own implementation? We would love to help you kick this off at your school districts. Mel's job really is to get those principals up and running through these trainings at your school district level and helping you tie this into what you're already doing and really coming up with that strategic plan. So we know usage is really important for everybody. We want you have this fantastic set of resources. We really want to help you use it. So if you have not filled in that request form, or if it needs to go to somebody else who runs those principals meetings, we can also help to make sure we interface that conversation. And so with that, we just wanted to thank all of you for your time today. Hopefully that was some good hands-on practice. You've got our emails here on the screen. I'm Deanna. Mel is our implementation director, who can help you with those, with really carving out that strategy. So just take note of those email addresses so that you can reach back out to us so that we can really help you take that next step in launching. And it sounds like some of you really are ready to go. I know Clover, you're talking about getting going on school-based training. Well, we've got a whole kit and a slide deck that we can provide you that you can use. So feel free, again, reaching out to Mel to get some of those tools. We can help you with that, or you can use some of our resources, or you can do your own thing, but we're here to help. So thank you all so much. And then we just want to make sure we have time for questions at the end. So anything in the chat or anything further, love to just have open Q&A.
Deanna, as our friends are thinking about their questions to ask, and as our friends Beverly and Vicky check if we've missed anything in the chat, I believe we've been responding to those. I want to emphasize that the educational impact team, Deanna and Melissa, truly mean it when they say reach out to us. So please reach out to them. And also want to let you know, again, that the services that they're providing to make the use of the library more personalized and targeted to your schools and districts' needs, these services are free. So please, please take advantage. I think sometimes, I always ask that, like, hey, if we offer this, are you going to have to charge? Or, I want to make sure that it is clear. This is free of charge. This is part of the service that they already offer. So please take advantage of what they have for you.
Thank you for clarifying that, Faye.
You're welcome. And please hop on the mic or type in the chat if there's anything that we could help you with. We don't have anything else to share with you from the Office of Educator Effectiveness. I believe there were no ADEPT related questions as well in the chat. But if something came up at this time, anything that's related to the PLL or the ADEPT, you may ask in the chat or hop on the mic. We'll be here. Again, if you have nothing else that you need to share with us, and we value your time.
I just lost Faye's audio. Did anybody else?
Oh, okay. I was, but hey, if I'll repeat myself, sorry. If you have nothing else to ask, we will not hold you. We value your time. You may hop off. If you have questions, I see that Angie has a question here in the chat. Please feel free to keep putting that in the chat or saying it on the mic. But I'll go ahead and respond to that question. I think Angie, you said about adding mentor credit hours using the bulk tool. The best person to reach out would be our induction and mentoring coordinator, Dr. Howard. If you would please, Melissa, show the last slide with our contact information so that they could, that Angie could see Dr. Howard's email address. And thanks for letting me know that you
Deanna,
could not
that's
hear
the
me.
last slide in the presentation.
Oh, okay. That is perfectly. Yeah,
Yep.
right there. Right there.
Thank you, everybody. We really appreciate you coming out.
Yes, thank you so much.